By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today I have something special for you because I am back in my favorite pub, the Twee Klaveren, the best place to play Magic and enjoy a beer. And I'm playing Magic with my friend here of the channel, of course, Juriaan. Juriaan, welcome back to the show. And we're doing something really cool today because we've got an avatar battle on our hands. I'm playing with Hand of Justice, which is actually a summon avatar. And I'm taking on Gaea's Liege, which is actually a summon avatar. So we've got Hand of Justice versus Gaea's Liege. So we're playing mono white versus mono green, but we're not playing the white and green decks you're used to. We're not playing white weenie, green aggro. No. We're doing something pretty crazy. And we are playing, by the way, according to the X Points rules. So that means we're playing with Atlantic rules. So we've got Fallen Empire, obviously, because I'm playing with Hand of Justice. We also have Mana Burn. Mana Burn is real, and we have one Strip Mine. And we're playing according to the X Points points list. So here you can see the points. So you can only spend 10 points in total on cards with points allocated to them. Now, I've got a little spoiler alert. I think we're not playing with a lot of points today. You know, because I'm playing, I can already tell you, I'm playing completely Fallen Empires. And my opponent is playing with 4 Gaea's Lieges and just a very cool deck. He's playing Living Lands. He's just playing a lot of really cool cards. But more about that, of course, in the deck section of the video. Before I start with the deck decks, I would first like to tell you something about the Timmy Talks Patreon page. Aye, me hearties. If you would like to support the show, you can become a patron at patreon.com/TimmyTalks. We have 3 different patron levels. You can join as an apprentice for just $1 a month. And this will give you access to the Timmy Talks Discord, and you can join in on all the Timmy Talks online tournaments, such as the Color Clash and the Reprint Masters. You can also become a supporter at the Sorcerer level for just $2 a month. When you are a Sorcerer, your name will be mentioned in the end scroll, and if you want, you can play a game against, well, me. But there is more. If you become a supporter at the Pirate level, we can even make an episode together. Aye! Haha! You can also choose to pay annually for a 10% discount. So what are you waiting for, me hearty? Visit patreon.com/TimmyTalks and join the Timmy Talks crew. Arrgh! And we are back and ready to dive into the deck decks. I'm going to start with the player on the left. That is, well, guess what? Me. Let's take a look at my deck, Icatian Infantry. And here we see my deck, Icatian Infantry. And as you can see, it completely 100% is made up out of cards from Fallen Empires. And with Fallen Empires, you can actually make a pretty decent deck. I played this deck in Roosendaal at the Dutch X Points Open. And actually, I won a match with it. The problem, of course, is when you're only playing with cards from Fallen Empires, there are certain things that you cannot answer. For example, how are you going to get rid of artifacts and enchantments? I let you think about that. I mean, maybe artifacts is a way, but in white, at least, there's no way to get rid of artifacts or enchantments. It's super difficult. At least you've got AO Pile for some direct damage. Also, do you have any flying creatures when you're playing mono white? No, you don't. I'll make this very short. I'll just quickly answer my own question. So it's really tough, you know, at a certain point you play against an opponent, you play some moat, and it's done, you know, it's absolutely done. But besides that, the deck is pretty good, you know, when you don't have to face certain threats. And I think today I don't have to worry about a moat because I'm playing mono green. You know, the deck's actually pretty decent, you know, because you've got a 1-drop with Icatian Javelineers, which is just a very good creature. You've got Order of Lightbur, which is really good. Some other cards that are quite good is the Icatian Lieutenant, because it can pump all your forces. Talking about pumping, this deck in general, yes, it's low to the ground. Yes, it's low casting cost, but it actually loves to have a lot of mana because you can use that mana on so many different cards. Of course, you've got the Pump Knights, but you've also got your Icatian Lieutenant, like I mentioned. You also have the Priest in here, which can pump everything. You've got Combat Medics. Trust me, Combat Medics are really good, especially when you have a lot of combat action going on. The Combat Medic is such an interesting part of the puzzle. There's a lot of combat maths going on with this deck, what I love. It's not just playing a card, turn it sideways, attack. Yes, you've got to, you know, keep attacking. It's an aggressive deck. But you also have to think about banding, damage prevention, pump spells, first strike. It's really nice to play with this deck. It's really... It challenges your skill level. It's really nice. I'm also playing with the artifact is called the Zelion Sword. That's another really nice one. It can give +2/+0 to a creature. And of course, when you combine that with First Strike, it's interesting. Talking about First Strike, you also have Aeopile, which is really interesting with First Strike. Of course, we've got Banding in here as well, you know. Banding is really interesting with cards like the Zealot, right? Because if the Zealot is not blocked, it can deal damage to any target. So it's kind of an indirect way to try to remove some creatures. It's really difficult for the opponents, and it's interesting for you as a player. So if you like combat maps and stuff like that, try to make a deck like this, you know, and ask your buddy to make a deck that doesn't have like the cards I just mentioned, like Mode, which is just a showstopper with not a lot of flying things in it. Just, you know, make balanced decks, and then I think you can have really a lot of fun with these type of decks. The nice thing about this is it's not just aggro. There are also some cards in here for the long run. Of course, we've got the Icatian Phalanx, the 2/4 Banding, which is huge. I remember as a little boy in 1995 when I started playing, people gave me a lot of Fallen Empire cards because there were just so many and nobody really liked the set. They loved the art, but I just didn't like what the cards did. It felt kind of underwhelming at the time. But that did mean that I got a lot of Fallen Empire cards. And I remember the Icatian Phalanx. I always thought, ooh, this is a good card because it's a 2/4 with Banding. So it's really, really good in defense and also really good in offense. So it's just really tough for your opponent to play against. And talking about cards with a higher casting cost here in the deck, we are, of course, playing with Hand of Justice, which is also an avatar. So it's basically me in the game. Hand of Justice is so iconic. Whenever I had the money to buy a Fallen Empires pack because they were cheaper than the 4th edition packs that were on the shelf at the time. And there even still was some revised, you know. But I used to buy Fallen Empires because it was cheap. I could buy it. It had less cards though, but you know, and I always wanted to get the Hand of Justice. I love the art of the Hand of Justice. I love the dice there. I always imagined those dice or like your life total. And then of course, if you combine those with Icatian Town, that's the combo, you know. That was probably the first combo that I saw that I thought, ooh, these cards go together really well. I guess, you know, Goblin King and Goblin Balloon Brigade. Maybe that was my first time that I connected two cards together. But this is a little bit more complicated. You know what I mean? This is a little bit more like a real combo. You know, combining your Icatian Town with your Hand of Justice. You know, and they're both in here. So that's always a dream to get that to work. I've managed to do that a few times, and it always feels good. It's such a great feeling, even if you still lose the game, because if I can assemble this combo, it usually means that, or I'm losing, you know, because my opponent's still not dead when I'm starting to cast these cards, or that we're in a standstill. And when we're in the standstill, this is actually a great way, because this is really good removal for me, you know, having the Hand of Justice together with some white creatures. But if I'm already dying, it's usually too little too late. But sometimes it can really be a change of the entire game, you know. Talking about those kind of things, I'm also playing with Ring of Renewal. Ring of Renewal is also quite cool because if you have an empty hand, it just draws you 2 cards. A lot of people don't realize this, but it does. So there are 2 Ring of Renewals in here. If I run out of gas, I can just start using my Ring of Renewal. So that has kind of helped me in a couple of games. Maybe it's going to help me in the game today. Talking about that, let's take a look at the deck of my opponent, Juriaan's Gaea's Liege deck. And here we see the deck of Juriaan. He simply called it Gaea. And I've already called it, I think, Gaea's Touch in the introduction. Then Gaea's Liege just now. And he said, let's take a look at the Gaea's Liege deck. I guess I got to call it Gaea's Green. Does that make sense, right? Because it's all green. And I mean, you know, it's this deck, you know, this deck. What can I tell you? It is so cool. Obviously, it's called Gaea, whatever, for a reason, because we've got 4 Gaea's Leeches and 2 Gaea's Touches in this deck. Maybe it's nice to start with Gaea's Liege. Gaea's Liege, such an iconic card. 3 green and 3 to cast. Also an avatar, just like Hand of Justice. And it says, as long as Gaea's Liege isn't attacking, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control. As long as Gaea's Liege is attacking, its power and toughness are equal to the number of forests defending player controls. And then you can tap it and target land becomes a forest until this creature leaves the battlefield. So they're just, I wish, you know, this is again one of those cards where you wish they would have changed the text a little bit. It's 6 mana. If your opponent has no forests, which they probably don't, Gaea's Liege, when it attacks, becomes a 0/0 and dies. So for 6 mana, you get a 0/0, basically, right? When you talk about offensive threat. So you first have to start making forests at your opponent's side, which is a very powerful ability. But remember, this is 6 mana. It comes in the game pretty late. So yes, it's some land disruption. It's not even destruction, it's disruption. But is it really going to do much that late in the game? I do love the fact that it's got power and toughness equal to the amount of forests you control. I think what would have been cool, you know, if they would have made this maybe 5 to cast, still keep it 3 green. I know maybe 5's too good, but still 5 to cast, power and toughness equal to the amount of forests you control. Maybe just make it 5 green, who cares? You know, and then tap target land becomes a forest until this creature leaves the battlefield. Just keep that, but just when it attacks, it remains, you know, the power and toughness equal to the amount of forests you have instead of the opponent. I love the flavor, because what happens if you read the old school rules and setup, they always say put your lands in front. Why? When the opponents, when the creatures of your opponent attack, they have to travel over your lands to get to you. You know, so it's a flavor reason why the lands are supposed to be in front. It has nothing to do with wanting to cheat or wanting to hide the cards you have. It's flavor, you know. So Gaea's Liege attacks, and Gaea's Liege becomes very weak as soon as he's out of the forest. So I get it from a flavor perspective, but the card now is just too underwhelming, you know. 6 mana and you don't get anything back. I mean, check out Force of Nature, you know, 6 mana, 8/8 Trampler. Now that's, you know, that's a balanced card if you ask me. But of course, it's cool to see people play with it. And of course, Juriaan, who loves, you know, flavor, who loves finding a home for cards, is playing with 4 of these bad boys in his deck. And he's also playing with Gaea's Touch, only 2 of those. Maybe I would have played more in this deck. Gaea's Touch is 2 green and enchantment that says pay 0. You may put a basic forest card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only 1 each turn. Then you can also sack the touch for 2 extra green. So it's 2 to cast, and you can always sack it whenever you want for 2 extra green mana. So it's great ramp. It allows you to play out your extra forests, and he's playing mono green, so you probably have a lot of forests. So I really like it. I've also said, I think I did this Forgotten Combo on the channel with Land Tax and Gaea's Touch. I also like that. Or, you know, Gaea's Touch and Howling Mine. It's just cool to think about how can you use the extra land drop per turn. How can you make sure, in old school it's not that easy, that you always have like too many lands in your hand basically, because every turn, ideally you want to take advantage of that Gaea's Touch. So Gaea's Touch is kind of the ramp in this deck. And, you know, he loves green mana. You can see that because he's playing with 4 Killer Bees. Killer Bees, again, such an iconic card. An 0/1 flyer from Legends. This was, people were looking for this card. You know, I remember that. I remember. And then, of course, it got reprinted. That did a lot with the value. But Killer Bee, so an 0/1 flyer, and for 1 green, you can give a +1/+1. And, of course, green is notorious for having a lot of green mana. It's easy to ramp up with green. It's easy to just get a lot of lands out. And I guess that's exactly what Juriaan wants to do. And then he's also playing with 2 Crawlworms, playing with 2 Force of Natures. There are just a lot of really cool cards in here. He's also playing with Living Lands. I mean, how cool is that? Living Lands makes all the forests 1/1. He can win with Living Lands. I hope, Juriaan, you're actually going to beat me with Living Lands. That would be absolutely awesome. He does have a really interesting synergy in this deck, and that is Rajan Spirit with If-Biff Efreet. If-Biff Efreet is a 3/3 flyer with a built-in hurricane mechanic. Anybody can pay 1 green, then it deals 1 damage to each creature with flying and each player. And the problem, of course, is that the If-Biff also flies. As soon as you pay 3 green, the If-Biff also dies because it deals damage to itself as well. And this is, of course, where Rajan Spirit comes in. Rajan Spirit, tap the Spirit, and target flying creature loses flying. So it's kind of a way to save your If-Biff from its own damage, because when it no longer is flying, it's not going to deal damage to itself. So I really like that. I think it's kind of cool. And of course, in this deck, you can also use the Rajan to maybe save a Killer Beast from the damage of the If-Biff. That's an option as well. But he can also give his creatures regeneration, because check out this card. Christopher Rush. I love the art of Christopher Rush. This maybe is one of his best pieces in my humble opinion. And you also kind of see a Black Lotus here in the art. You know, maybe it's a bit far-fetched, I know, but at least you see another flower made by Christopher Rush, which is still something special. So Nael Sylvain, a summon Sylvain, it's actually a creature oof now, the creature type. Don't know why, but anyway, this card, look at that art. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's a 2/2 for 3 green, and you have to have 3 green. Which is decent, I guess. 3 mana for 2/2, but then it has a pretty cool ability. For 4 green and tap, you can regenerate target creature, so it can save target creature, which is pretty sweet. You do need to have 4 green. It's not easy. Obviously, the card would have been better if it said 1 green and tap, because that is basically a regeneration like the enchant creature, but then, you know, on the creature ability. So that would have been quite cool. But of course, they probably thought that would be way too strong, so they did it this way. That's pretty cool. Talking about synergies, we also see Tracker with Waluli Wolf, which I always kind of like, right? The Wolf can pump the Tracker, and then the Tracker can kill a creature, a 2/2 now because it becomes a 3/3, or you could even say 3/3 kills another 3/3, and then you regenerate it with the Sylvain. So, you know, there are just a lot of synergies in here, but I feel like I've been talking about this deck maybe a little bit too long, but I hope you forgive me because there's so much cool stuff happening in this deck. Juriaan, thank you so much for bringing it to the table. And you know what I hope? I hope that my deck is not too quick for your deck because I want to see your cards maybe more than my cards. Does that make sense? Anyway, enough talk. Let's go to the match. Enjoy. Game number 1, here we go. I believe I'm on the play. Here we see the hand of my opponent, Juriaan, who's on a mono green. He's playing Gaea's green, and I'm playing Icatian Infantry, a mono white deck that's completely made up out of Fallen Empire cards. Here we see Icatian Javelineers. Check out this land. So there were special like proxy lands made with Fallen Empire, the Fallen Empire's logo on them. So I'm playing those, of course, in this deck. If you want to know more about that project, by the way, you can click on the info card. Look at this card played out by Juriaan, the Desert. That's kind of a showstopper for me. I mean, Desert can deal 1 damage to target attacking creature. So that means that, you know, I really don't want to attack with a 1/1 creature. You're playing an Icatian Infantry and a Priest here, by the way. So Priest can be quite handy because it can pump my creatures, can give them +1/+1, but I have to pay 2 white and 1 to do that. Here we see a Dryads, 1/1 creature with Forest Walk. No forests at the moment, but of course Juriaan is playing with Gaea's Liege. So that card could come in handy later in the game. Here we see an Icatian Lieutenant. That's a 1/2. At least I can attack with the Lieutenant. Can also pump my other soldiers, can give them +1/+0. There we see an Ice Storm taking care of one of the planes. The good news for me though is he's tapping out. So next turn I could attack here using my counter to kill the Dryads. So now Juriaan doesn't have a blocker anymore. I'm going to play a white and going to attack it with everything. Yeah, Desert is tapped. I have a chance to attack here. It's going to drop to 16. And in my second main, playing an Order of Lightburst, so the 2/1 Pump Knight. Protection from black, not relevant in this match, but one of the better cards in the deck, of course. So let's see what Juriaan can do, playing another Forest. I believe he had another Ice Storm in hand, so perhaps going to Ice Storm again. Going to tap 3. Okay, there's a Tracker. Tracker, ooh, that's also, again, quite good. It's a 2/2. Pay 2 green and tap, then it fights with another creature. So again, quite good in killing the 1/1s. But I mean, Juriaan has to be careful though, because I can also pump my my army. Look at this, attacking with everything. Really going for the aggression. And he's using the Desert here against the Order of Lightburst. Now remember, with Desert, you first take the damage. And I'm going to tap 2. I'm actually going to pump it up. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage here. It's going to go to 9. The problem, of course, is I'm losing and a creature, and I'm now opening myself up to Desert. So he can now use the Tracker to kill one of my creatures for just 2 green. Looks like a pretty good deal. He's on 9 still. Let's see what he's going to do. I mean, I would use the Tracker here. Of course, I don't know what else is in his hand. Yeah, he's going to use the Tracker. Makes sense. I think I would kill the Priest, because that can give +1/+1. He could also go for the Lieutenant, which is a 1/2. Yeah, he's going to go for the Priest. I think this is a good decision. Going to tap 3. Oh, another Ice Storm. Oh, the only good news here for me, the silver lining, is that at least the Desert's tapped, but that's a 3rd Ice Storm. No, the 2nd one. 2nd Ice Storm. Setting me back so much, but hey, at least I can swing in again. That's what I want to do. They all have 1 toughness though, so 3 damage could pump them. Decide not to because of the Tracker. And here we see Juriaan dropping to 6. He's going to use the Tracker again, but of course this time I can use my Lieutenant, because they're all soldiers. So it's going to pump itself to a 2/2. And now they both die, which is not that bad actually for Juriaan. You know, he's taking care of another creature. He's really stabilizing. Another Ice Storm. Are you kidding me? Man, maybe Juriaan is gonna win this. I mean, yes, he's almost dead, but remember, I mean, yeah, I've got Aeopiles then. I got to win through Aeopiles. I mean, if he can build up his defense. Okay, there's another Infantry. Okay, this is hopeful. He's on 3. Got the Phalanx and the Combat Medic in hand there. Combat Medic would have been so good. The thing is with this deck, the white weenie deck, I just need a lot of mana actually. There we see double Scavenger Folk. Tapping 3 and a Killer Bees. This is interesting because I'm just going to attack with everything again, right? And then he has to make a decision. Okay, Hand of Justice, pretty useless. I mean, I've got serious mana issues here. Gaea's Liege in hand of my opponent. There's the attack. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game, right? I mean, Juriaan, yes, he's got to block 2, I feel. Is he thinking about Aeopile? That's the question here. I guess not, because he only decides to block 1 and give it first strike. Could have chosen to go for the occasion Javelineer, because that's just the 1/1 he could have traded. I think I would have gone for the Javelineers here. Another Gaea's Liege. Unfortunate for him. We're both kind of stuck with spells we cannot cast at the moment. There's the pass. I think this is a good decision by Juriaan. I mean, he's on 3. He really has to protect his life. If he starts to draw into lands, he just needs 1 more land, right? To deploy Gaea's Liege. I mean, what can I do? I can attack with everything just to deal a damage. You know, that could be an option, but then I will lose everything. Exactly. Decide not to. There we see the Dryads, the 1/1 Forest Walker. There's the pass. The only good news for me is that I'm on 20. Look at that. So I can start using my Javelineers as well to deal some damage. Could get him on 2. And then if I draw into an Aeopile, I can actually win the game. Okay, there's the Sylvain, right? Yeah, so this is a 2/2 creature that has an ability 4 green and tap regenerate target creature. Beautiful art by Christopher Rush. Yeah, this is tough for me. And again, the only good news is that Juriaan's on 3, you know, so I can get him to 2 with the Javelin counter. And then kill him with an Aeopile, that's an option. Ooh, that's mana number 6. Is he gonna play out Gaea's Liege? Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. If you know that song, you're as old as me, let me know in the comments below. This was a very bad song. What were they called again? The Bubblegum Girls or something? I don't know. Anyway, 6 lands for Juriaan. Could cast Gaea's Liege here, right? Gaea's Liege is 6, right? Yeah, there it is. Gaea's Liege entering the chat. So this is a asterisk powered creature because the power and toughness is equal to the amount of forests that you control. So it's now a 5/5. But when Gaea's Liege attacks, the power and toughness is equal to the amount of forests the opponent controls, which is 0 at the moment. But you can tap the Gaea's Liege to turn target land into a forest. So a very flavorful card. And I'm playing the Ruins of Troycar, I believe. Tap land. You can tap it for white or tap and sack it for 2 white. Yep, it's going to start turning my lands into forests. Uh-oh, and that means the Dryads is now active because it has Forest Walk. And there's another Gaea's Liege. Uh-oh. Oh, he needs to tap 1 more forest for that. But okay, I'll forgive you, Juriaan. It's not that relevant. Also, not attacking here with the Dryads. I would have attacked with the Dryads for sure. I mean, it's just a free damage. If I use my my Javelineer counter, it's good. Okay, here we see the Varel's Zealot. It's a 2/2 creature, and when it attacks and is not blocked, you can choose to have it deal no damage, instead deal 3 damage to target creature. And there we see a Gaea's Touch. So an enchantment from the dark, and it allows you to play out 1 extra forest each turn, and you can also sack it for 2 green. Yeah, there's the attack now with the Dryads. Gonna drop to 19. But yeah, it's looking really bad for me. It's gonna make another forest. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh man. I mean, the only way out for me here is what I said, Aeopile and the Occasion Infantry counter, and just you know, hope that I don't die. But I think next turn Juriaan's gonna start attacking with the Killer Bees. He can make that Killer Bees into a 6/7 flyer. Could also use his Gaea's Touch to make it into an 8/9 flyer. Okay, here we see the Combat Medic. The problem for Combat Medic, though, is yes, it can prevent damage, but I need white mana, and I'm not going to have any white mana. Surprised here, by the way, that Juriaan hasn't used his other Gaea's Liege to turn my land into a forest. Still kind of worried, right, because he's on such a low life total. Wants to keep enough creatures untapped to do the blocking. I get that. I get that as well. And I guess this is like the last turn for me. Okay, I am playing another Plains. This surprises me. I think I shouldn't have done this, to be honest. And he's turning my tapped Plains into a forest. That's also an interesting choice. Why not the untapped one, Juriaan? Why not? I mean, that seems to be the better decision to make. But small, minor details, though. There we see the Wailuli Wolf. The 1/1 creature from Arabian Nights that can tap to give target creature +1/+1. So could also use that to start pumping up the Dryads. Again, no attack here with the Killer Bees. Look at this. Deciding to deal 1 damage to Juriaan. Juriaan thinking, why not take the Dryads? I think Juriaan is not thinking about the AO pile at all because he's really taking his time. Do I have an AO pile? Oh, there's an AO pile. I think I'm going to win this. Deal 2 damage to any target. That's it. Oh. This feels like a steal. This really feels like a steal. And yeah, you can destroy it in response, but the ability is on the stack. There's nothing you can do. It's like Nevinyrral's Disc, basically. So there's nothing Juriaan can do here. Oh, man. And I think if Juriaan would have thought about the AO pile, maybe he would have played more aggressive with the Killer Beast, because I feel like there were a few moments in the game where he could have chosen to just, you know, be very aggro with the Killer Beast. Maybe 1 or 2 turns that he could have attacked. I'm not sure if it would have been able to kill me then. I think it would still not have enough turns, but he would have definitely gotten closer to killing me. Anyway, we are going to dive into our sideboards, and we will catch back up with you in game number 2. Game number 2, here we go with, of course, Juriaan on the play, having a beautiful Crawlworm there in hand. And some sweet options for turn 1. He's going to go Scavenger Folk or the Dryads. Gonna go for Scavenger Folk, makes sense. 1/1 creature from the dark, pay 1 green and tap, sack it to destroy target artifact. And there we see an occasion Javelineers coming in, of course, with a Javelin counter. We saw that in game 1 as well, by the way, had the same opening. There's the attack here, gonna drop to 19. Ooh, 2 creatures here. Double spell for Juriaan on turn 2. So we also see the Dryads now, the 1/1 Forest Walker we also saw in the first game. Gonna tap 2 white. And okay, play out an occasion infantry, that's 1 white, and okay, play out another infantry, so also a double spell from my side. Infantry, you can pay 1 to give the first strike, and you can pay 1 to give it banding. So maybe banding could be relevant here. There we see a forest, attacking with everything. Wow, so Juriaan is the aggressor now. Interesting. Gonna take the damage, drop to 16. And there we see a Gaea's Touch and a pass. Okay, so he's kind of opening up. I can now attack him for 3. The question is, who is the aggressor here? We can both play pretty aggressively. Of course, Juriaan has the bigger creatures in the deck with Crawlworm, Force of Nature, and of course the Gaea's Lieges and the Killer Bees. Here we see a Feral Zealot. Okay, that Zealot could become very important just because it's a 2/2. And remember the ability of the Feral Zealot. If it's not blocked, it can deal 3 damage to an opponent's creature instead of damage to the opponent. So this is pretty tricky for Juriaan, also because I can band it. So the next combat step is going to be really interesting. Let's first see what Juriaan can do. Okay, there's a Killer Beast passing the turn. So realizing the danger of the Zealot. Now remember, Juriaan does have the Gaea's Touch. You can sack the touch to give the Killer Beast +2/+2. But first untap, upkeep, and draw. I mean, I could actually use my Javelin counter on the Killer Bees here to force Juriaan to sack the Gaea's Touch. First going to play another Plains, so 4 lands for me. That's more lands than I think I had in the first game. So 4 Plains here on the table. Okay, going to take it back, going to play Ruins of Troycare instead. Tap 2 white. I kind of feel like this is an important turn for me. Okay, there's an AO pile. Ooh, I can do some wrecking here. Gonna deal a point of damage to the Killer Beast. Okay, Killer Beast dies. I kind of expected him to try to sack the Gaea's Toucher to keep it alive. Then in response, I could do AO pile to kill it, but that didn't happen. Okay, I'm gonna now band. Gonna attack it with a 3/3 bander. Ooh, he's not gonna block. Pointing out the ability here. Yeah, so you might as well block. Yeah, that makes sense, or else I'm gonna kill a creature anyway. There we see a Wailuli Wolf. It's not looking great for Juriaan here. I mean, losing the Killer Bees was kind of a thing. Crawlworm and Force in hand. Oh, that's why he doesn't want to sack the Gaea's Touch, of course. He wants to be able to play out one of those two big creatures. Yeah, and I think the Viral Zealot is a problem now, because he's kind of forced to chump every single time. And I can just pay 2, give my infantries banding, ban them with the Viral Zealot, and just attack. I think that's the way to go, to be honest. Thinking about attacking with him alone, I don't think that's a good decision. Have to keep the Zealot alive, in my opinion. Ooh, I am attacking with it alone. Oh, that is not smart, I think. Or do I have some kind of trick up my sleeve? I mean, I've got 2 cards there, but I don't think there's anything in my deck. I think I would just double block here. Of course, it's easy to say from this position. It's going to block with all 3. Yeah, that's probably better, because if he would have double blocked, I could use the Aeopile on one of them. So he's going to block with all 3. I guess I'm going to kill the Wailuli Wolf, exactly. And the Scavenger Folk. Now, in response to this damage, he could have sacked the Scavenger Folk to kill my Aeopile. Playing a Phalanx here. So I really wanted to play out the Phalanx. I think what I could have done, but maybe I wanted to keep the white mana, you know, is pay 1 white to give it banding, then sack the Troikair. And you can see that Juriaan is really not happy here. Yeah, finding the if-biff, and now he cannot. Yeah, I mean, he could sack the Gaea's Touch to play it out. Maybe I would have done that. You really need to do something here. Then again, he's still on 17. There we see another infantry. Gonna band everything together. Look at that. Okay, gonna band those 2 together. Oh, I'm gonna... Okay, because I can give them first strike, of course. So, gave him first strike and now attacking. Yeah, this is really tough for Juriaan. He's going to take damage regardless. Yeah, blocking the band here, taking 2. Dropping to 15. Shouldn't that be 14? Anyway, doesn't matter much. There's a desert. Going to tap 4 here. We're going to see the if-biff Ifrit probably. There's the if-biff Ifrit. And this is tricky again for Juriaan. Yes, it's a 3-3, but remember, I've got first strike creatures and the Aeopile. So just with the 1/1 first striker in combination with the Aeopile, I can take out this if-biff Ifrit. I'm just going too quick, and my creatures have too many abilities here. It's really tough to play against these Fallen Empire creatures. Going to give 2 of them first strike. Or not. Okay, we're just going to attack in a huge band. This surprises me a little. I can give them all first strike. Exactly, then I don't even need the Aeopile. Going to take 3, going to drop to 12. Well, Juriaan, I mean, is going to drop to 12, the Gaea's Liege player. I mean, I think I would sack the Gaea's Touch here, tap 4, right? Keep Desert untapped and just play your big Crawlworm. It's not going to save you exactly, but you have to do something. Or maybe, okay, it's going to go for the 8/8. Makes sense as well. The problem, though, with the Force of Nature is, of course, the upkeep cost. So that's why I was thinking maybe go for Crawlworm. Because then later, if you draw into another forest, you can cast your Gaea's Liege. Sorry, your Force of Nature. Anyway, Force of Nature on the table. 8/8 Trampler, iconic creature, of course. I mean, that's gonna hold me back. He's still on 12. I could make a huge band, but I'm not gonna make it with that. Ooh, I am gonna band everything together. Okay, what's my plan here? This is now a 5/7. It's a 6/8. Okay, so I guess if he blocks, I can kill it with the Aeopile. So there's the attack. He's going to take the damage. The problem, of course, here for Juriaan is that... Yeah, he can kill one of the creatures. Exactly, it would take one of those infantries. The problem for Juriaan is if he would have blocked, I could put all the damage on one creature because of banding. Here we see a Pharaoh's Zealot passing the turn. And again, remember, he's on 4 and I've got the Aeopile. So... I think if I was Juriaan, I think I would have blocked, even though it's super bad, right? Because I'm going to lose a 1 when he's going to lose an 8/8, but then at least... yeah, then again, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, you can see Juriaan now dealing 1 damage to his own force. This is it. So a very quick second game, and Yeah, that was unfortunate. The start was hopeful for Juriaan, but after that it went south very, very quickly. And I think just the Occasion Infantry deck is just too good with all the banding, and it's just going too fast here in this matchup. But I did enjoy this match. I hope you've liked it too. This was the Battle of the Avatars right here on Timmy Talks. If you've liked it, please leave a like, a comment, share it on your socials. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. Talking about moving forward, please consider becoming a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks for all the information.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. She rises early in the morning. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scout to the husband's son. Put him in the scout to the husband's son. Put him in the scout to the husband's son. Early in the morning, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning.
Igitus figitus sumba kazee.